050, this is Hound Dog 7, over.
G'day boys and welcome back to the first, well actually not a Lads Let Loose podcast, but the first of the Pav Cup. We've got TFMC versus the Six tonight. The game is up and running. We are playing on Kharkov Warfare at night. We'll run through our streamers first and then I'll introduce the boys that are alongside me for this one. So we've got Sir Lobster representing the Six tonight. Toby Drew is playing for TFMC, but he's not up and running at the moment. We might see his perspective a little bit later. We've got Hacksaw on TFMC and Dragon Fister as well. So we'll be flicking through the streams tonight. But joining me in the seat, as always, is Hillsy, my good friend. And I've got my very good friend from the 11th, Mr. WhalesVagyna, and the man, the myth, the legend, Rum from Ross. How are we, boys? So looking forward to this one?
Been hotly anticipated for me. Finally, we're back in the competition, boys.
Cannot wait. This is super exciting.
How about you, Rum?
Great to have two 11ths and two Ross players here commentating tonight. Yeah, how are you, Rum? Thanks for joining us, brother. Taking up your Saturday night away from the misso.
No worries, very keen for it. Excited to see what we get here, especially with those points. That's straight.
Straight down that eastern side, yep. So we took a little bit of time getting into a server, but the boys were pretty fortunate. After one burn, they've got the warfare straight after the first burn. So looks like we're playing on, was it Asian servers, Rum?
Asia East.
Asia East, yeah. So looking like we had a bit of trouble getting into the Aussie servers tonight, but hopefully everyone's ping should be relatively the same, so hopefully that doesn't have any issues in the game itself.
And what a map to start on too. This should pan out to be an absolute cracker. It's not an easy map by any chance. No, in the means of the imagination.
Absolutely. So just for context, boys, we've got TFMC playing as the Soviets, and we've got the Six playing as the German forces. So we've only got one perspective of the Six tonight, of Sir Lobster. I believe he's going to be on defence tonight. So it'll be interesting to see if old Frankie boy, who's representing TFMC, can get his Satty out on the point and give Lobster a little present. What do we reckon, boys?
Can you jump in squad lead? So we're doing basically what...
Oh, I'd love to see Frankie in action. Hopefully we see it.
Yeah. So I'm going to drop out and I'll come back.
In to see a fair few explosions tonight.
Right.
Especially at night time. Satchel heaven.
Absolutely. Alright, looks like Lobster's just dropping out to join again. We'll follow Dragon Fister, who's in the truck, ready for that mid-cap race.
Default, so it shouldn't matter.
A few marks down already.
Do you think any one particular side's got an advantage on this mid-cap race, boys, or would we say it's fairly even?
Well, it's almost entirely on the right-hand side, isn't it? So this is probably a game that we've had long overdue. Where we've got consecutive points. Advantage-wise, you've got two ravines. I mean, whoever's on the German side, they've probably got the easier approach into the point, I'd say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the only worry for Sixth here is if they lose that fourth point, because they've got TFMC have got the corner backed in behind them of the wall.
Yeah.
They can really dig their defense in.
It looks like TFMC have started to get the cap, so we'll see how that pans out for them. I'm sure the Six are coming up, and will be there very shortly. But TFMC is starting to get the cap on, which is a good start for those boys.
Rum, this might be a pearl of game for the two of us because we've got two consecutive points. the midpoint on same line over a ravine. I'm looking forward to some potential big tank battles here, mate.
Oh my! I do see the perspective of, I know the TFMC tanks and the 11th, not the 11th, the 6 tanks. I've already messed it up. 6 tanks more defensively based.
Yeah. Yeah.
They like really hold a position.
Talking of tank boys, we'll flick to Hax, who's in a crew with Fubar, who's a bit of a legend. We all know Fubar from the tanks, and we've got Sean Horst, who I think is a bit of a new player, crewing up with them. So I believe Hax is driving, Sean Horst is driving, and the knowledgeable Fubar will be in the commander role.
Risk it for the biscuit.
I think I've gone on a bit of a wider flank here, looking to try and get in behind straight away.
Yeah, yeah. And the 6.
Yeah, sounds like it too, to quote Fuba there, risk it for the biscuit. I love that risky approach from him.
The 6
Light
boys,
tank's definitely worth it.
the 6 boys contested for a moment there, but looks like the TFMC pressure starting to mount a little bit more again.
I've gone past the move mark.
So they're just coming in to get this midpoint cap, but just saying that the 6th contest again. So we'll switch over to Sir Lobster and see how he's looking.
Only concern for 6 on this push is they've got that big open ground between their defensive objective and coming into the midpoint. They don't really have any of the trenches or anything to really protect them from, obviously, tanks, infantry fire.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I'm going to drop my OP now. If you die, come in on it.
So TFMC get the cap. So after about 5 minutes there, so a good start for those boys. Let's see how long they can hold that out for. There's a relatively quick cap over the middle. We were discussing the other night, Hilsey on the potty, the longest time that the teams have fought over the middle, but in terms of that was relatively quickly for the boys there.
I'm wondering if I know there was some conversation earlier in the week around the numbers that 6 are going to be able to muster for this match. It was one of the first times they've come from TPL Light where they're playing with a smaller group of individuals, and they're in a match now that requires them to have 50 players. And I'm really hoping that Lobster can bring up his scorecard at some point and just to see how many numbers they've been able to get, because that was going to be a big challenge for them. And I know for them to be able to have a really rewarding match tonight, having as close to 50 as possible is certainly going to help them, but that might have affected them in this first push, because if you don't have that organisation to get as many troops into those 4 grid references that are going to contest the point, then yeah, it does slow you down. So 5 minutes was pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you're bang on with that. Cap weight ends up being key at points, and if you don't have the numbers to really control it, you might struggle.
Looks like Lobby's having a moment.
Yeah, he's back. Oh,
I didn't realise they had night vision goggles back in.
looks like he's hot spotting off Frankie's internet there, but.
Hey, nice kill. That'll fill you with some confidence being in that right position, then taking that down. Beautiful.
One of the things that...
And he's moved in on the garrison here.
Oi, nice.
This could pay off well for them.
Come on, Gary.
Bit of a slow burn.
Mikey, can you mark up O squad?
One of the things that I really enjoy about this map is that you've got quite a few very open areas, right? But they're always sort of flanked by rows of buildings, little niche hiding spots where you can put like key OPs and whatnot in. I think it's overall quite a well thought out map, but man, it can be absolutely brutal if you get behind. Recovering on it can be hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important to use the buildings to your advantage as well. There's a lot of windows that you can hide in and have a really good overview of infantry, you know, approaching from fields, and it's a really good advantage. You know, I think we played the 7th in the first trial of TPL on this Wales, and they use those buildings so well to their advantage.
Yep. Did they what?
Yeah.
Gary on your marks here.
Lobster's just running amok back here. He's just running through their blue zone Garys. That's what he's up to, isn't he?
Yeah. He has. I think he did say the other day that he was playing a similar role when we did the midpoint map of playing that sort of almost third recon team of just sweeping right at the back, taking out those garrisons. So I think that's what his role is going to be for this game. Just being behind enemy lines and just being a bit of a pest, so to speak, which you'd know all about, Hilsey.
I feel personally attacked. Yes, that's right, brother. That's right. That's the game. But I'm loving seeing him back here because I know you were talking maybe he was going to play defense, but he's definitely he's very aggressive here in what he's attempting to do. He's marked up where the other one might be as well, which is good comms. And 6 have contested a couple of times in the last few minutes.
Yeah.
So they're definitely not allowing TFMC to really establish themselves on the point.
Oh, outpost.
Hacks and Fuba have just been taken out in the tank as well, so they're back at HQ. It looks like they're getting into a medium, I believe.
Heavy tank.
Oh, heavy? Was it sorry?
Yep. That is an IS-1. It's the heavy tank.
I'm useless with Russian tanks.
Move mark.
I guess it becomes key here. You kind of have a cascade effect that can happen if your first heavy tank is the first one to be taken out.
Why have we not got a
It becomes hard to then switch it back in your favour tank-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting that first heavy up there and then taking out the enemy heavy is really crucial to the tank.
That's where they'll be coming in.
I just heard Fuba say there, Rum, that why don't we have a Gary there on his marker?
Keep our wits about us.
Maybe I believe that's where the
probably put
Gary that Lobster took out there. So yeah, see Lobster's already causing problems for
Can't put a Gary up.
the TFMC boys, and as we say that, the 6 are starting to contest the point now and getting the cap on. So let's see if TFMC can rally up and defend this.
From windmills
We'll go back to Dragon Fister and see how he's going. Just got a nice kill there. 2 nice kills.
Oi, they got everyone on there. Absolutely everyone. You need to fucking hold that point, fella.
Requesting artillery on opening.
Some constructive criticism there.
Man, it sounds like me and
And me.
We can hear the famous Forest there as well, saying that they're all over the Gary.
That's one of the dangers of this map, though, and it's sort of like backtracking onto what I was saying before. You can hide some pretty good offensive garrisons, especially on those upper points, because you've got those rows of houses and quite close proximity to them. So overwhelming a point can happen suddenly and very quickly.
For sure. Switch back into Lobster as well, who's
coming straight to you.
looks like they're running some dynamic squads as well here, the 6.
He's found another one. The Lobster. He needs to be the rat.
At this rate, it's his shout tonight, I think.
Took 3 of them out as they spawned on the garrison. That was absolutely beautiful. Just got taken out.
Someone's coming with a nice clean up there to save it.
We're not front on.
It's crucial
There will be a bit of that key for TFMC is defending their Garys that didn't seem to be happening in the first 10 here.
Yeah, Rog, I need Shanos to stop.
They have started defending again.
Tiger.
Looks like they're shooting over a carcass of another tank onto a tank that's very deep on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's hiding in behind trees as well.
Yep.
And those shots can be challenging.
So as the boys contest this middle point here, Hilsey, we might have some new players. Well, we've certainly had a lot of new players join the Lads Let Loose Discord this week, who potentially may have never seen a clan war. So do you want to just maybe run through a couple of the things, you know, how clan wars operate and why we choose certain maps and may avoid certain others, and while we obviously go for the warfare instead of offensive.
Tiger floating around.
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free to chime in as well, fellas, as I digress for a few minutes. Warfare is the mode that we use in competitive. The reason why we use that is it's the most fairest way of being able to run a contest. Warfare goes for 90 minutes and it starts equal with the neutral zone in the middle for new players. You'll see that the other mode that we play in Hell Let Loose is offensive, but that isn't used in competitive matches like the one that we're watching tonight. Warfare, there's a number of maps that we do use, and there's certain maps that we don't use. There's a lot of nuances around why certain maps we don't use, but in general, if there's a certain map that has a tactical advantage to one side or the other, then if that's going to affect the outcome of the match in such a tight fought contest, then those maps are usually discouraged from the competitive scene. Kharkov is a map that's part of the rotation for the Pav Cup. And what you won't have seen is we've spent about half an hour beforehand. Well, not when I say we, but the Sixth and TFMC have spent about half an hour beforehand trying to find a server that was relatively empty, so that we didn't have to boot anyone out from the server or the game that they were playing, and then stack the server with 50 TFMC players and then 56 players on each side. So it took a bit of time for them to do that. We mentioned it earlier on in the podcast that we were able to find an Asian server that they're playing from. It's a bit different on the PC scene. The PC scene, you'll see they actually have a server selection tool which allows them to organise games with a bit of ease, but we don't get that in console. The Warfare mode, Warfare games in clan matches can be 90-minute slogs, where the victor is the one that has 3 or more points at the end of the 90 minutes. But obviously, you can also win a match by steamrolling the opposition team and coming out 5-zip after about half an hour, 45 minutes. In the Pavlova Cup, if you are able to do that and win the match 5-zip as the point system, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit later at the end of the match, you'll get a bonus point towards your clan and the point system, which will overall find out who the number one clan is in Oceania after 3 rounds.
Yeah, well said, Hilsey. I think how important are those bonus points going to be, Rum and Wales? We see so many times teams winning 3-2, but the temptation of earning that bonus point by pushing for the 5-0, that could be, it can pay off for some teams, but it could come back to bite you on the arse. What are you hoping to see with the introduction of that bonus point?
I think.
Sorry, boys.
No,
I should have.
We're both waiting for each other there.
I should have directed it.
All yours, well. Go ahead, man.
All right. I think it's one of those things where high risk carries high reward. And that will come down to commanders probably getting the feel for where things are at. There'll be maps and situations where you might have a decisively dominant team trying to push for the 5-0, but it could potentially bite them in the backside as well. It's certainly an interesting aspect to it, and I think it's a positive within the competition as well, because where you run a high risk, you add in some you got a massive potential for some unpredictable outcomes within that as well.
Absolutely. What do you think, Rum?
I definitely agree. I think later on, coming into that final round, you'll be seeing teams have certain points and stuff. Teams will be looking and going, okay, in order to jump them, we need that bonus point.
Yeah.
So now it becomes the type of thing where they need the 5-0, which means, do they take the extra risk, or do they, settle for the second as such?
Absolutely. And the risky thing is that you can have a team that's winning 4-1 and push for that 5-0 and end up losing 3-2 because they leave themselves open in defense. So I think we're going to see some really interesting results come from this, and some teams I think are going to get tempted by the carrot dangling in front of their nose, and others are going to try and play it safe. But sometimes just playing it safe isn't going to be enough to win you the glorious Pav Cup that Frankie has baked himself. Just as I say that, Hax and Fubo have taken out in another tank. So the Sixth are dealing with TFMC's tanks really well, and I did say that in the podcast last week that I was really looking forward to these tank battles. And so far, I would say that the 6 have got the upper hand or the foothold on TFMC at this stage. Would you agree with that, boys?
Definitely.
Yeah, it looked like some good flanking hole shots there on Fubar's squad there, through the darkness. You've got to watch out for those, especially in the Soviet tanks. You can sometimes get a bit of a false sense of security because their forward armor can be quite dominant over the German ones. But once you know the spots to hit, you'll get them in 2 shots.
And there's definitely some experienced tankers in the 6th side. I know Pilot's not playing today, or he may be playing, but he's not streaming. But Whitebread is also a very competent tanker. So it's always going to be a tough battle between the likes of Fubar and Whitebread. So, but it's still early days. TFMC still in control of that midpoint as we approach the 20 minute into the game mark. So. Still plenty of time for things to change.
Yeah, knowing Fuba, he'll bounce back from this. He's a pretty competent and very calm tank commander. To put a cheeky slant on it, I don't know how he's going to deal with the lack of forests on this map. But he loves hanging out in there. But yeah, he'll recover from this. He's pretty composed about these kind of things. I'll just be interested to see how they manage the fuel resources.
New target, come off the point.
How important is it to stay composed as a tanker? You know, I certainly know from leading infi squads, it's very easy to get frustrated, and you know you're going the same way, and you keep getting killed and respawning and dying, but you know, at the end of the day, all you have to do is respawn and wait 20 seconds. As a tanker, if you lose that tank, you know, the commander can quickly lose his shit, you know, lose the shit with you when you're constantly asking for another heavy tank or another medium tank. So how hard is it as a tanker to stay composed, Wales?
I think every tank commander deals with it differently. I kind of take an approach that I just accept that I'm already dead by the time that I chose to get into a tank squad, because you are pretty much one of the number 1 targets on the battlefield, and you're just sitting, you're sitting in a big, iron coffin basically, and you're going to be targeted by pretty much everyone, right? And for me, that gives me a bit of I don't know, calmness. You're sort of like, all right, I'm just going to focus on what I've got to do here and not worry about, what the outcome of this is going to be. I'm just going to try and stay up as long as possible and try not to put my crew in a situation where we're going to get taken down, really. I think it's one of those positions where you just need to constantly assess where am I going to be most effective to the clan, and where can I position myself in order to have the maximum effect from where I am at the time. But yeah, that's me. Every tank commander is different. You'll probably have a different sort of insight on that as well, or a different approach. I was actually going to say is I wouldn't know because I just don't stay composed. But yeah, I don't think that's the answer people want. Sorry, Ram, off you go.
You're all good. I think it becomes like from a tanker perspective, it's even an infantry perspective. You as a squad leader, your squad is dependent on you to keep a positive energy, because if you're keeping a positive energy, even when, say, your tank gunner's going, oh, I can't hit my shots, I can't hit it, your positive energy rubs off, and it really pushes your team further and further.
I agree.
And you just keep going. Like, you might be dying and dying and dying, but it's that grind. You've just got to grind through it.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I think even in the respect of running an infi squad, as a squad leader, you've just got to try and take the emotion out of it, because that negative energy feeds onto your squad. Don't get me wrong, when I'm getting killed over and over again and I'm squad leading, I just take myself, mute myself, and I scream foul obscenities, and then once I come back on mic, I'll try and come across composed to the squad so that that negative energy doesn't spread. So I think that's a good point there about trying to stay composed, because the moment you start getting frustrated is the moment you start making mistakes.
Yeah, I think for any of the newer players that have sort of recently joined, probably the biggest piece of advice is, if you're in a pub game make sure that you are listening to Red Chat, especially when you're rolling with more experienced guys. And if you don't know where to go or what to do, ask the command chat. Most of the guys in there will know where the advantage lines are, and they'll probably point it out to you, all going well. Because no one's really going to screw over a tank. They are a massive asset on the battlefield. And yeah, just enjoy it. It's a role that takes a lot of time to learn. I mean, I had that much, well, I wouldn't say fear, probably respect for the position. I didn't actually start tanking until I was about level 100. Just because I was focused on Infi and actually getting to know the game. And ever since then, I've probably rolled in it 90% of the time because I really enjoy it. But yeah, there's no urgency to get into it, but definitely get into a squad that's experienced, higher rank, you know, because otherwise you are going to have a bad time. And that's just the driving. I'm not even talking about rolling into the front lines yet.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll have a
I'm going to
listen.
say, fellas,
Go on, sorry,
super impressed with how great the Six are doing in regards to constantly contesting this midpoint. They have not let up.
Absolutely.
Nah, they haven't.
Absolutely.
Kept that applied pressure.
We'll listen in for a second, boys, as the Six start contesting that middle point.
What's quite impressive about this is that this is not actually a very easy point to constantly push on. You've got open ground between the main road and the railway lines, and then you've got open ground on the right, right, just off the point, and in front of them is open ground. So for them to just keep on putting that consistent pressure on, it's a massive effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Rum said that earlier, that it was going to be a difficult ask for the Six, because they've got so much open ground to cover to get to the point.
Yeah.
The only cover really on this objective is the objective itself. Outside of the objective, it's a lot of open ground. They've really got to, continue to keep that pressure the whole time. Because I think if they let TFMC set up,
if you can just
they will have a hard time getting across the open ground.
Two targets.
Yeah, the only real sort of quote unquote easy way into this point, as we can see it on the map there, is the trenches just off to the left of the point. If you get good artillery covering that side and enough smoke on there, you could potentially push in quite effectively. But with solid defence and whatnot out there, even that can be a bit of a grinder.
And just looking at the map, they've sort of got a two-prong approach, don't they? They've got a little bit on the west there through that monkey you're talking about, and then that sort of south-southeast push, which you're going to have to naturally do. That's the front line. You've got to be pushing people through there.
Yeah.
Looks like Lobster's approaching from the west side here. He's just got an OP up in a decent position. So Six are still contesting that point, so there's still enough pressure on the point there at this stage.
I think the only concern for them is I don't see too many people within their defensive zone. If TFMC gets some form of flip here, they might be in trouble. A bit of strife.
And we haven't seen an airhead yet that I'm aware of anyway.
I will say one thing as well, boys. I've seen it's half an hour into the game, and I haven't seen much artillery at the moment. So I wonder how much of an effect that will have on the outcome of this point.
Clear out OP when you come in.
Yeah, it looks like the Six might have one of their recon guys up there already, dealing with their arty, with TFMC's artillery. Doesn't look like there's anything down the Sixth way.
Crispy, I'm a massive fanboy for Toby. I do believe his stream might be up. Do you want to? I've just messaged it to you. Do you want to have a gaze and see if you can add it in?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, brother. The last match I watched Toby play, and he was prepared to put himself in the meat grinder in the power grid, and just kept on throwing himself and his squad into it, and was successful on so many occasions. It was absolute weapon of a player.
Yeah, he's a machine. He just keeps pushing.
Talking of the man, the myth, the legend, we'll switch over to Toby Drew now, who's just about to spawn back in.
If he gets the spawn, the Gary's behind the line. but it does look like Sixth will take the cap.
Six have just
And
taken the
they got
cap. Yep.
Now, I believe that offensive blue zone garrison that they've got was just pinged up by Lobster as well,
Yep.
It was.
as we switched away. So,
It's coming in from the east.
yeah.
Of the Gary.
He's just trying to hide from that tank, I imagine.
You've got the concern for TFMC now is that you've got this ravine which will help them provide cover, obviously, in the point, but there's not a lot of options for them going forward towards that objective.
I was just about to say that, Rum. How difficult of a task of TFMC you got up their sleeves now to try and reset and cap this point back.
Gonna need a lot of teamwork here to get it.
On the other hand, what's in the sixth advantage now is if they manage to keep TFMC to that ravine, they're going to slowly be able to bring up their armoured squads gradually to the point, and they're slowly going to get a view of windmills. And that's where they're going to be able to start to assist their infantry on possibly putting a flank from the middle of the map on. Although, typically in order to take this point, you do kind of need at least a little bit of control of the ravine.
Yep. It looks like TFMC have got 2 tanks up now, though. 2 heavies.
Yeah.
On the field.
Yeah.
Got hacks in one. Be keen to know who's tanking for the other, or who's in the other heavy. Any ideas who'd be running that crew, Wales?
No, I'm not. I'm just not too sure who's playing on this side tonight. Once I see the list, or once I see a score sheet, I might be able to narrow it down. Well, obviously, because we'd see who's in tank, but
a lot of new names.
Got him.
Yeah, nice.
I think the good thing about this Pav Cup is that it's just before our respective Summit and TPL season start, so it kind of gives you a good opportunity to really use your new players or your new recruits that you've picked up since those seasons have finished. And I know a lot of teams will be keen to try out some of the new guys that they've picked up and try out some different positions. So, it's whilst it's still a tournament that everybody wants to win, it's I see it as an opportunity to try people in different positions as well. Would you boys agree with that?
Agreed.
yeah, it's been a long off season, and I think for quite a few of the newer guys into clans, it's probably a bit overdue for them to get their bit of blood on their hands, so to say, in a clan war.
And during that off season, you've recruited a number of different players as well. I know that we've got a couple of new little absolute guns coming through, and to have a moment now over the next couple of weeks where we get to see what they're capable of, but also for them to be able to enjoy that experience, because
Yeah,
as you know, a competitive match is completely fucking different to just a pub match.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Toby making some real advances here.
Yeah.
What's that? My boy's doing well? Yes.
He's getting a very good push on right now.
He'll be all over this. He'll be frothing at the bit.
He's definitely pushed that
Yeah.
infantry unit real far.
Clearly that
Then he gets the friendly
German
kill.
rationing chocolate is doing a difference.
Who the fuck does well? Take you one of these with my grenade.
You hear him acknowledge the friendly kill there. But he's just dropped about
He's having
10
a field
people.
day.
Oh my god.
He's causing absolute dramas for the six at the moment on this side.
How enjoyable is the rifle that he's using though? It's one of my favourite rifles in the whole game.
Agreed.
It
So
is-
good. Just
it-
up.
Yeah, and it's I sort of think it's got quite a bit of advantage of over its German counterpart, and the fact that its handling is just a bit smoother.
Absolutely.
Feels like to me anyway.
It's interesting because I would rate the Gewehr over it, but it's obviously, I suppose it ends up being what you prefer sight wise and stuff, because the sight on the SVT is very open, so you don't have any obviously restriction to what you can see. But then you've got the sight on the Gewehr, which is obviously with its closed loop, you lose a lot of like sight outside of it.
Yeah.
But feels like you can range maybe a little bit better with it.
For sure, for sure.
I don't know. That might be me.
This'll I'll take you down a trip down memory lane, lads. When I used to play sniper, I absolutely loved the SVT. I mean the goat sniper is the FG, but if you're gonna play Russians, absolutely love that rifle. It's just with a scope on top of it, it packs a bit of a punch, and with the semi-auto as well, it was always my my go-to choice.
You need one.
It's funny you say that, because I reckon if this was a daytime variant of Kharkov, it plays into that 8 times
When you're running the
carnage
next
sniper
build.
role.
Oh, 100%.
You
Oh,
know,
you'd
you
be
get your
used- yeah.
snipers in some real nice positions. They really help your infantry to
Yeah.
keep the pressure.
Yeah, your maps like open maps like this, and even though it's banned from the Pav Cup,
Just-
LL main, using
Call
the
someone back there, man. Pick somebody.
somebody
Just
else.
say
Yeah.
anybody. Just say anybody. Just call
Just
someone.
can't
by
on
the
the
way,
8.
pick
That's
someone.
the scope just with that 8 times zoom, it's so beneficial when you've got such a large map.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they factor in the different weapons, depending on how the roadmap pans out for this year with the Polish forces as well, or the Finnish Winter War. Especially when they announced that winter map from the Winter War, that's got some outright potential for sniping.
Absolutely.
But I suspect to see a lot of foliage on there.
Just push up to me. So I can
Or dare I say
see
foliage and
keep
shrubbery.
pushing it down. 30 seconds.
I do think we're going to get quite a balanced match here, though, because it looks like it's been quite contested, really. Sixth have applied a lot of pressure to that mid. Now you've got TFMC looking to try and retake it.
Yeah.
They've got a bit of pressure on their point now as well, so they need to be mindful of, not giving too much ground, and then
I'll switch to the lobby
We're
again.
just
He's just taking
Gary.
another
What is
garrison.
this?
Yeah, another Gary.
He
monster.
should- You have a little necklace of Gary's just around his neck at the end of this fucking thing.
He's causing absolute havoc behind enemy lines at the moment. So another garrison takedown by Sir Lobster there.
I think he's in his own territory, actually.
Yeah, it was a quick one, wasn't it? It must have been a red zone
Yeah.
garrison for TFMC.
Real deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he may have switched up to more of a defensive role now.
Stop moving. Forward, please.
I guess his teammate was out of position, and that was the only way that he could reposition him.
Can you drop them?
The old tactical redeploy.
What's going in their favour at the moment is that TFMC does love a
And then,
good reset.
We get a,
Yeah.
So if they lose a point, they'll pull back, they'll reassess from what they see on the map, they'll
yeah,
get garrisons up, and once they feel that they're in a position to push, they'll start pushing. But with Lobster being probably fulfilling his KPIs here, DIB2 corporate, he's really putting a bit of a halt to that.
Yeah.
Definitely got his quota on Gary's.
Yeah, exactly. He's on a commission rate.
He's certainly earned his keep tonight for the 6, isn't
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to tuning in next week where he is Lord Lobster.
he? Lord, yeah. he gets knighted every game he plays. Yeah. But I'll make you right there actually. Wales, TFMC do that really well. They don't panic when they lose a point. They take the time. They know they've got time on their side still. They've still got just under an hour of the game left.
Exactly.
And they will reset and they will hit you when they know that they've got the strength to. So we'll transition back over to Hacksaw and Fubar, who are taking their time and just sat back here, but they've just taken a shot.
The track.
Yeah, so taking a shot to the tracks, but that's
Turrets
probably
as
another
well.
heavy that they're engaging by the looks, or an AT gun. My inclination would be towards a heavy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
down they go.
Doesn't sound like they're having a fun time at the moment.
No.
Missed where they were on the map there, unfortunately. But that's the risk of this map is you're either in good concealment or you're forced to sort of be bit more out on the open, depending on how the entire team's game flow is going. Especially as the Soviets.
Support on the OP. Support Tory.
Yeah, see, they pushed that line back. They're now trying to get their Gary up to try and obviously get that push going.
Yeah.
And Toby's out on the west there, isn't he? I love him because he's so aggressive. I love him because he puts himself in the tough positions, but then he also has tactical awareness to request certain strategic plays and the command of his group to be able to say, hey, this is what I need, this is what's going to happen, while still shooting multiple people in the face at the same time.
Yeah.
He's aware of the situation.
That last, when he got domed the last round about 5 minutes ago, it's because he's checking the map on such a regular basis, and it's not a negative thing. It's just one of those fucking things that unfortunately plays out sometimes when you're constantly trying to assess every single situation. It can suck because you either get into the habit of going to ground every single time you check the map, but look at how regularly he's doing it. It's literally every 5-10 seconds.
I'm with you there, Hillsy. I suffer from this all the time. Every time I open the map, someone will shoot me. But yeah, I'm a sucker for checking it regularly on the move, just to try and keep that constant pressure up, especially when you're trying to push a point, or if there's pressure on the defensive point. It's you don't necessarily have the time to lay down and assess the map from a real quick a couple of seconds to look at the map. Every now and then you just need to keep looking at opening it up and keep applying that pressure.
Oh, that was unlucky. That guy spawned on that OP. He destroyed it, but they spawned on it, I think, and that's what got him.
Now that's actually a massive move that we've seen here, because he's probably lost his OP there as well, and he was one of the few that was still in their red zone. And they were contesting their defensive point at the same time.
I think it might have been
how we go from there.
They are getting a cap on right now, actually.
I think it might have been
were.
Lobster. I think it might have been Lobster that got that OP there.
Mulligan's coming.
So that was Lobster that got Toby, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah. Because he just, as I flick back to him,
they're in that little power grid.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah, they're starting to get the cap on the 4 point here, so.
So this is one of those beautiful things about this game, and what I really quite enjoy is that you can, every once in a while in a game, and see that you're about to lose a point, but the numbers are just right on each and every single point to suddenly have the power sway. So we saw the 6th starting to cap windmills and everything, and now we're just back onto the midpoint with TFMC putting pressure on there.
No.
They mixed it up. Fubar's driving.
We're not even close again to that's.
I suppose I think it's the risk you take though when you have obviously someone new coming to your tank and you're trying to really get the vibe going. It's not always going to be how you want it to pop out.
Yeah, it's
guys can't even fucking hold a point, seriously.
You can hear some frustrations coming up here from the TFMC boys as the 6 moves to 2/3 of capping the 4th point.
Looking pretty dire for him in this moment.
Yeah.
On this point.
He's read the situation though. He's trying to get himself back there, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think he's going to have time to get there.
The old 200%.
Someone's not messing around anymore.
I think all of us thought the same there.
I was actually thinking that the whole time. When's someone going to turn their brightness up?
And just as they capped that point, the 6th, TFMC was starting to contest the middle point there. But I dare say it would probably be because there was a lot of pressure on the 4th point, and looks like they're starting to get the cap on the 5th point here.
They're on the dual press.
So it looks like the 6th are going for the jugular early on here. Let's see what Lobster's doing.
Yeah, very, very, very classic leapfrog move.
Easy squad.
He redeployed himself by the looks of it. I think he is going for the jugular.
I believe it.
Airhead's in a very nice position.
Yeah, airhead's
between
in.
both objectives. Well played on that rotation from them though, from defense to assault.
Yeah. Yeah, they've leapfrogged really well here, haven't they, with that airhead? And I dare say there must have been some 6 recon squads causing a bit of drama at the back there. But as we say, that TFMC start to defend that last point, and hopefully they can do the old-fashioned TFMC reset.
Anything can happen. They can still take this back.
They contested it for a moment there. So
Yeah, on consecutive points, losing the 4th point is not the end of all days.
No. So the positive thing for TFMC here with their reset is now that the enemy artillery can't reach them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about artillery on this defense. I thought he had just done the old headshot, leave the server. We've all done it.
Yeah. Oh, would you look at the time? It must be the time.
Beautiful shot by Fister there.
Definitely. But you are right, they've really got to come together now, reset their lines and
Yeah.
get the ship floating in the right direction. The old garrison argument.
So the key sectors here are obviously from midway through the map to the right. One of the biggest problems that I'm sort of seeing here is just the sheer amount of open ground that TFMC now need to make up. I mean, for TFMC's commander, there'll have to be some pretty tough choices to make round about now. Because first of all, he'll want to stabilise the last point, but he needs to get pressure on the windmill stat, because otherwise the pressure will just become too much. And of course, once they get, the HQ will lock out. But I think I saw a garrison go down just before.
I think they managed to push them out.
Yeah.
You are right, but they just have to worry about letting the set up on defense here.
Yeah.
So the fortune of TFMC, Lobster unfortunately has dropped out. He's been kicked back to the main lobby. So hopefully TFMC can take advantage of this. But he was starting to make some good ground there just as he got booted. We've all been victim of this as well, I'm sure, boys.
It's been quite a menace too, so he would have lost.
Yeah, it's a big loss for the 6 at the moment. And now he's struggling to get back in. So I'll keep an eye on him anyway, and hopefully Lobster can get back in and we'll flick back to him. But he was causing a lot of dramas at the back there for TFMC, so
might be a good opportunity just to talk about how sometimes blueberries will join a game like this and it's just unintentional. You rock into a game. See how he was failed then to be able to join into the game because it was full.
Yeah.
A blueberry might join the game just looking for server. You might have just woken up, you got the coffee, it's your first game of the morning, you jump in, and all of a sudden you get boat kicked and booted without realising it, but you took the time to have a bit of a gaze and saw a ton of 6 tags on the team that you were playing and a ton of TFMC tags on the other side. You've just inadvertently jumped into a clan server that is being used as a competitive match, and as part of being able to get Lobster back in, they have to remove you so that Lobster can get back in and start playing the game. It's not personal. They'll use the boat to kick and use abuse so that you can just jump into a different server. There's no penalty to you. You've just got to requeue. It'll be a 20-30 second, sort of issue for you, but that's about it.
Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes they may not necessarily. A lot of players just say, "Well, why couldn't they have asked me?" But when clan matches are going ahead, the pressure's high, and red chat, sometimes is going off its tit. So the last thing they want to do is, waste a minute trying to ask you to leave the server and explain what's going on. So you may find as a new player that you do just get vote kicked. But as Hilsey said, it's nothing personal. It's just so that they can get their team members back into the game.
Tough way, because you can't talk to the person either, especially if they're in no platoon. So they've joined in, they're in the fucking lobby, they're sitting there. You can't talk to them, you can't talk to them. Red, green, white, nothing.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of just like, boom, gone, and it sucks, but it is what it is. It's not personal.
So they're getting a couple of
If you've been-
I
was gonna say, if you-
get into windmills too, if you can see them, they've got a deep garrison all the way in Charlie, Gamma 4.
Yeah, it's a nice garrison, that.
Just need to get their defense down so that they can get that roll in. Gary's locked.
And there is that I'll call it semi-shallow ravine that sort of leads around the back of the point, and that's pretty much your only cover from there.
Alright, guys, we're jumping on A squad. So redeploy now.
Just the balls, like, I'm surprised he fit through that door with his giant balls. Totally true,
I guess the thing for TFMC is they need that force point back as quick as possible to give them an opportunity to take the mid, which means they're gonna have to take some risks.
And good news, boys, Lobster is back in.
And I'll go through these houses here.
Hoping to get a garrison up at this stage, but yeah, good news is that he's back into the game.
And this is what we were talking about. They're taking the time now to set themselves up, while TFMC takes the time to set themselves up because that early pressure they place straight away on the 5th point. Six are in this advantageous situation where they can set themselves up structurally in defense, and Lobster's doing a bit of that heavy lifting.
Team limit reach for Gary's.
6 tank was White Bread, Spanky, and Beanform.
That goes back to the 11th days. That trio used to rock a tank crew all the time, so there's a lot of experience in that crew. And no disrespect to the TFMC tank boys. I know we've got Fubar and Hacksaw there, and I know Sean Horse is a fairly new player, and sometimes it just takes a bit of time to build that cohesiveness, I guess, as a tank crew. And those guys for the 6 have been playing with each other since I can remember. So I dare say there'd be a good connection between all 3 of them, and they'd know how each other plays well, which is why they've been so successful in this game.
One of the most important connections that you can have in a tank squad is the driver knowing how the gunner is going to react. And I'd say that the 6th have got a decisive upper hand over Fubar's crew here because, yeah, as you said, they've been rolling together since 1939, and yeah, it's real tough. And I've been in that position before where you can just tell that the cohesiveness within that crew is just absolutely spot on. There's not many ways that you can take that away from them. It literally comes down to outsmarting the tank.
Yeah.
In order to fight that cohesiveness, you just need to get that first shot off.
Yep, absolutely. They're very good at, keeping their angles correct, keeping the tank angles moving when they need to so they don't get precision. That type of thing, but you are right. It takes a lot of time to, really build cohesion between a tank crew.
Yeah, it's the human behaviour, and most of the human behaviour I'm talking about is actually knowing how your tank crew's going to react when you're actually under fire. That's what will either keep you up or cost your team fuel.
I guess you could look at it from the perspective, 6th, looking at this perspective of we've got the 4-1 now, do we just sit here and then try to take it later on, or do we just go for gold because we've now got a buffer?
I agree. I think you look at it, they've got just over half an hour left, and they've got, if they can sit back and hold this, and mount an attack with the last 10 minutes to go and really pile on that pressure. You heard Lobster earlier there saying that the team limit for garrisons has been reached, so they've set up a good position now. I dare say that they will start to, get their numbers on the point, and then, they've got enough time on their hands to go for that 5-0. So I think we can expect the last 10-minute push from Malarkey here.
It'll be interesting to see. I was just putting my commander hat on, and those of you who have rolled with me when I'm commander will know why I don't do it that often. But what I'm interested to see is whether Malarkey will just probe around just to keep the pressure on and focus on defensive and take an opportunity if it presents itself, or if he'll actually just become aggressive and push, because he does have a point to spare, and we're at 35 minutes. It'll be interesting to see how he sort of does the maths here.
I hope he doesn't change a thing. I hope he just keeps on playing how he's been playing, and just because it's been working. Do you know what I mean? Like, so set yourself up and then start rolling through. They control the flank. There's only really one flank, which is the western flank.
Yeah,
and they're controlling that. They're always set up defensively to the south of their position. They're rolling through that front point while controlling their western flank. Just keep on doing that, and it seems to be working. Because as you say, like TFMC, it's that moment where, hey, we've got to start taking risks. We've got to try a couple of different things, which then spreads you a little bit thin. It'll be interesting. I'm loving it. What a cracker first game for the first ever round of the Pavlova Cup, fellas. Absolutely sensational.
Absolutely. I think they are keeping that tested, obviously, applied pressure, because they're continually getting a contest here. And I think they're starting to get a cap here too.
Yeah,
you can see on that map, they've got numbers in that corner.
This game has had a lot. Like, we've had quite a long contention over midpoint, and we sat on that for a good 20 minutes, half an hour. 6 ultimately took it. What else have we had? We've had some tank battles. We've had Toby Drew.
I'm glad Toby Drew made an appearance. That little push he made on that west side there was an impressive piece of play. But it's been a good start, boys, to the Pav Cup. It's certainly been an interesting match. But TFMC are back defending the last point still, so they're not out of it yet.
So we've just picked up something quite interesting there. The 6th is starting to drop, put a supply drop in their blue zone at mid-map. So
super
they're
wide. Super wide,
super wide. So they're setting up a wide defensive network. They're going to be able to see if there's a potential breakout or whatever it is from here. What they'll probably only be looking for is an airhead. But it looks like, exactly.
Trying to catch fish, make sure your net's wide.
Correct.
The second point was briefly contested there by the TFMC boys, so they may have one more trick up their sleeve.
We're in a fortunate position where we get to see both sides of the map, and we're seeing both things happening. But when you're in that tunnel vision of only being able to see your perspective, when you see that your area is being contested, psychologically, within your different roles, fellas, how do you usually respond when that takes place? When you see that your defensive point's being contested?
Our whole west for all 3 points is fucking naked.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Instantly, you feel like as a I've played a very defensive role in a lot of the clan wars in previous. So I'm just going to turn this down a little bit. But yeah, I've played the last few matches in TPL. I played a very defensive role, and you almost feel, I guess, guilty in a way as soon as that point becomes contested, because you feel like you're not doing your job well. But I think the key to it is like Wales said earlier. If you lose a tank, you lose a tank. If you lose a point, you lose a point. It doesn't mean it's game over. I think the key is reset and come back. And even when that point gets contested, you can still react to it. It takes a while for that point to get capped, and I think it's how you react to it is how it's going to affect you. So if you can keep your composure and try and work out where they're coming from, rather than just go into a blind panic and run around like a headless chook, I think that's the key to sort of remaining composed.
Worth noting that they've switched to one of their tank players. Cowler Camel's come in. Which Sean
So Sean
dropping
Horse has dropped out by the looks there as well.
I think I've tried to stable their ship maybe with a little bit more experience.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It does look like it's working for them.
And it's no, as we said before, it's no bad word against Sean Horse. It's just, as we said, it can take some time to build that cohesion. And we heard early on, just as the game started, I'm not sure if we were recording at this stage yet, Fubar and Hacksaw were asking Sean Horse where he normally plays. So he kind of suggested that this crew haven't really played together much before. So I dare say that they wouldn't have had time to build that cohesion with each other.
There's plenty of time for them to obviously work on things, work together. They might find Sean works better in a different thing, say infantry. They might find that he works better in a different tank, or he might even find he works better as a tank commander himself.
For sure.
Yeah, and you look who they were up against. I don't think there's anything that Charles will have to be ashamed about there. That's a tough ask for anyone. It's that's a formidable tank crew.
Absolutely.
And look at the map; it's like a foy map. It's super open, the snow, all that sort of jazz. It's a bit of a strength for really experienced tank crews to assert their dominance on a map like this.
You could probably argue that 6 tank crew is probably one of the best, if not the best, in Oceania.
I was just about to say that, Run. They'd certainly be up there for experience. So I think that's a fair comment to say. How do you feel they would have gone if it was a forest map, Wales? With we know Fubar, you mentioned earlier, he loves the trees. Do you think that would have made a difference?
I was thinking about that earlier on, and hard to tell, mate. It would really depend on what map it is. Fubar is absolutely lethal in some, and I've seen some genius flanks done by him in the past. He knows the routes through, and he knows alternative routes through as well, and that's an absolute hat tip for him for his map knowledge there. I think if it would be, let's say, Hill 400, we wouldn't see much difference, because I think we can all agree Hill 400 is Hill 400, and it's anything but a tank map. I'd say he probably would have come into his own in a recon tank. He does love the recons. Hurtgen Forest, I wouldn't dare to call it, because you've got that massive open space across the middle of the map. Very hard to tell. And the 6 are very good at a distance as well. Very good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've had another victim kicked from the game. Dragon Fister has just been kicked back out, and he looks like he's struggling to join. It's always the risk with the Asian servers, is that inevitably we're going to get boys that drop out, but hopefully he can get back in. We've got about 20 minutes to go of this match. We'll flick back to Toby Drew, who's trying to get Garrison up on his position.
I had a Gary just before in that position, and Lobby had just gone through that spot and got killed, so it looks like one of his other squad members has actually got that Garrison.
How spoiled are we, though? We've got 2 great tacticians in Lobby and Toby going up against each other, pretty much putting themselves against each other in the same position over and over again. And it's a battle of a couple of titans here trying to outsmart each other.
Certainly a clash of the titans.
Where about you, man? Are you coming up to me? Yeah, north up to me.
I will say, I think we are going to see a 10-minute push here. Full frontal push from Malarkey. I know in the past, when he was back in the 11th days, he did like the 10-minute mark as a bit of a time to go for the jugular. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as we approach that.
Yeah, good shit.
Might not wait. Look at him go.
I mean, they've got a lot of control around the point.
They are starting to count now, though.
Yeah.
Marked up.
And And they're
It,
starting to pour numbers in,
looks
aren't
like TFMC's garrison would be locked out at this stage as well, looking at that map.
We've just got a spread of bodies just come off that.
You can hear Lobby looking for the garrison as they push into the point. You can hear the garrison there, they're onto it, and if they get this, I think it's game over.
Oh, that will be game over, brother. Wow.
Great push
that will
by
be
the
it.
6 there. Fantastic bit of play by Lobster and his squad. And I think, boys, that is going to be a GG, and looks like the 6 are going to take this one 5-0, unless TFMC can pull out a miracle here.
Can we just listen to the boys' comms in the last 30 seconds if they get the dub? Just
Absolutely.
see how ecstatic they are. Is that cool? Yeah, sweet.
Riggy, do you like the taste of silver?
And a good old shovel fight for Crispy there, who loves it. I do enjoy a good shovel fight, boys. Thanks for that. And that's it, boys.
Wow.
The 6 takeout, 5-0, earning the bonus point. How good of a start was that, boys? Let's have a quick look at the scoreboard, and we'll go through that.
Are we on Lobster Stream? Hopefully you can scroll down for us and give us a bit of a gaze.
Yeah, righto. Hang on.
Oh, he's with us. Cool, sweet, brother.
Lobster's in the chat. Congrats to Lobster.
Oh, yeah, righto. Hang on.
Oh, Frankie's just joined us as well. Yeah, Lobster, if you can give us a bit of a screen, scroll through the score, that'd be great, brother.
I can do that.
Frank, not your day.
Oh shit!
You got me with a satchel, Frank.
Frank.
You should be happy.
Well, boys, we'll use that to segue into a bit of a post-match interview. Firstly, Lobster, congrats on the win, boys. That was a very impressive win. How did you feel the match went?
You know what? Yeah, they definitely picked up their game since last time we played them. You had a lot of sector control that we didn't have, and your frontline pushes were relentless. So, in our perspective, I know some of our defensive crews were getting pushed hard, and as you probably saw on the stream, it was here, there, everywhere trying to take out Garys and whatnot. So it was a lot of things we can work on. But buddy, good shit from TFMC. That was fucking fantastic, especially for an opener of the Pav Cup.
Absolutely, we were very fortunate to witness that one. Frankie, obviously not the result you were looking for, mate, but it was a tough fought match. How did you feel the TFMC boys went?
How did it look to you boys? Can you hear me all right, by the way?
Yeah, we've got you loud and clear, mate.
How did it look to you guys? Give me your thoughts quickly.
I always said it was going to be a tougher. Sorry, I can hear a bit of an echo there, Frank. Oh, cheers. That's all good. Yeah, I always said it was going to be a battle of the tanks, and I think the 6 dealt with the TFMC tanks very, very well. I feel like the map suited the 6 tanks crews a lot better, and I think that's why they control that. But I think that first initial race to the midpoint was a very, very good start by TFMC. But I think that ultimately once you started to lose a few tanks, that's when the pressure started to mount, and there's only so much that the defensive crews could do to hold on there. But what did you think, Rum?
I think, TFMC, you got a good push into the middle for the start. You really got your setup done. I just think you were obviously having a bit of hard time keeping your garrison maintenance up, which was obviously causing issues for you.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say, mate. We think alike. I don't know. It's probably a bit too early to comment directly, but don't know where the attack was. Like, just couldn't keep up. Couldn't keep up garrisons in our attacking points, even when we were holding that midpoint distillery, I think it was, for so long. The maintenance of garrisons coming back up, they weren't fucking there. And any opportunity to mount a push, from what I could see, it just wasn't happening. I was in White Chat with Forrest and Narlan, and those comments were echoed pretty similar. So I won't overstep my boundaries too much because that's kind of up to them to discuss. But from a grunt perspective, just constantly on the back foot. And no disrespect when I say this, but not due to the 6th. Just we were our own worst enemies today. So we'll give full respect to 6 for the win. Congratulations, but we did that to ourselves just there. So lessons to learn. It'll make next week's game for us really, really interesting because we want to get back on the winning path, fellas. But yep, that's old Frankie's perspective. I will just say this: I'll put a smile on my face and I'll have a laugh with you, and you'll get a giggle. What did I say? What did I say on... Oh, by the way, g'day, Whaley. Welcome to the fucking channel, champ.
Thanks a lot, Frank.
Big
First
boy.
Long-time listener, first-time caller, mate.
I know. They broke your cherry without me. I hope they were gentle. And g'day to my mate Heelsy. I haven't heard your beautiful voice yet. Thank you for all your help. Oh, actually, I'm going to take up a little bit extra time. Did you end up getting Toby Drew?
We did.
Oh my God, did we ever?
Okay, good. All right. Well, then I'll quickly...
We got Toby Drew at the perfect time. Had the perfect push. Took out about 10 players in a row. So it was the perfect segue to introduce old Toby to the stream.
Yeah, it was nice to have the TFMC centerfold.
He's a sexy boy. All right, I'll just quickly... I'll say one. This will give you a laugh, but I am saying it purely in jest. But how about fucking Malaki's form? Now, I said this, I don't know if I was on the potty or just afterwards, but fucking old mate, through the week, we'll need to reschedule. There's no way we're going to get 50. What did I say to you boys? I said it to Hacks, I said it to you, I said he's playing fucking mind games. I counted them today, the sneaky prick, and they've got it. They had 49 in there, plus one blueberry. Oh, no, we're not going to close. Oh, Malaki.
Hey, Frankie,
I said I know you.
So do you want to know? This is the hand on heart. This is the fucking truth. Up until
here we go.
6 o'clock this morning, I had 36, and I fucking smashed these tentative fucks all day to get them to turn up.
You know what I'm hearing there, boys? For my first example of Pavlova Cup mind games. Hey, you like it? It's getting fucking serious already. No, I do say that with a laugh. Well done, mate. But yeah, no. For honest analysis perspective, and you would have seen it. We were our own worst fucking enemy today. Couldn't get things going, and always on the back foot. And that push at the end there, the recon tank, I think it was, that came in sort of down the eastern flank, and then the heavy. I called that too through the week, pushing the tanks up there, and it was everything that we expected, but we didn't react. So yeah, thanks boys, and I hope hope everything went well, and thanks for having us on briefly here at the end.
No, absolutely. It was a great game to be a part of. Talking of taking down garrisons, Lobby, you were doing an unreal job back there, causing havoc with those garrisons. You're almost like a third recon team there. So, how many garrisons did you get in the end? We must have witnessed at least 3 or 4.
I didn't actually look, but between them and OPs, as you saw, I can't shoot for shit, so I might as well do something productive. So yeah, I know definitely that as Frankie said, like they had the Garys on distillery there, that midpoint. We're taking them down, getting them down as soon as they're getting them back up, and then realistically, once they had that stronghold, once we got the midpoint back with that garrison in the gully there from Windmills, like that was relentless. Just that infy pushing down there, and it's from what we saw, if they had got some more pressure on the western side, I reckon they would have pinched us pretty quick and pushed us back out of there, because it was relentless, that side there. But yeah, basically just that third Gary, and just send my fella do whatever. Because I can't give a shit. I'm pretty sure I said that halfway through the stream as well.
Well,
It did look like you had some relentless pressure, like going on for a good 15-20 minutes after you took the midpoint, mate. But at what stage did you feel like there was a bit of a turning point in the game? What sort of gave you a bit more of an ease?
It wasn't till we capped the windmills, realistically. Once we got that, and we'd already had those OPs up on the fuel dumps there. We got we already were third capped and then got pushed out of there. That was a bit of sigh of relief because we're going, righto, we know they're probably a little bit stretched here. They're they're trying to work up on this back sector first, so it was a bit easier breathing. And even then, we were just taking. There was a few airheads and OPs behind the point, but nothing major. No, no red zone Garys that we ended up having to do. It was only that one, basically on the main road there, that Wilco was getting smashed off.
Yeah, thanks for that. It was quite interesting to see that because I sort of put the question out. That will be interesting to see what Malaki will do. Will he sort of hold back and just probe the last point and just take the chance when he can, or will he become a bit more conservative and just try to hold on to the 4-1? But congratulations on the win, mate. Solid win for first up. Was great to watch, and yeah, Frankie, good fight out there, mate. I was impressed by your first push, bro.
Hey mate, I got the top combat score today, and I got over 50 kills, but I reckon about 50 or 49 of them were due to my fucking Sadie, so I lived up to my name for you, boys.
Hey, not bad.
Hey, nighttime maps, mate. Sadie heaven, well done.
There was that Sadie on distillery there. As soon as it blew up, I just swore in unit chat to Mulligan going, fucking Frank. I knew exactly what it was.
I got 13 on that one. That was.
Yeah, and the Gary.
Yeah. Hey, I will just say, boys, as well, we looked like there was a bit of trouble finding the servers tonight, so I think you guys opted for Asian servers. Was that correct?
Yep.
How did you find the ping? I know we did see you drop out lobby at one point, and Dragon Fist had dropped out as well. Did you have any other guys drop out?
We always have Sleazy drop out, but he's running on like 290 ping, so it's just the standard night for him.
Standard night for me as well.
Yeah. So I didn't see anyone else drop out, and mine wasn't due to ping. It's just due to fucking Xbox. So we had a couple of Japanese fellas. It's the same thing. Their ping is ridiculous tonight. They're like over 300. So they've done well with what they had. I'm assuming poor bloody TFMC probably had the same thing, had a few fellas drop out. It's just the way the game is at the moment. It's a cunt of an idea.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because we talked about the fact that we thought maybe Six would have an advantage with the Asian server, but to hear that from you, Lobby, that the Japanese guys were finding it really difficult with a higher ping, is against what we thought.
Yeah, well, they've got, because they had all them, like they've had that earthquake and whatnot over there, their infrastructure's not back up 100% yet, so they're running on like what we'd call our 2G network and the internet side of things. Like they're not up and running 100% yet, the poor blokes.
Smoke signals and paper cups attached to string.
So
Any Morse code today.
So next week, boys, Frank, you take on the 11th. What are you hoping the TFMC boys will be working on throughout the week?
Yeah, the ping wasn't too bad for us. I'm just catching up on all of that.
Sorry,
No,
yeah,
I'm just
yep.
joking. No, I'm joking. What did you say, 11th next week? Well, look, no, I'll just say this, and I'll keep this smile on my face so I don't get in the grumps again. We have to learn from our mistakes and not make it about versing you boys next week. Yes, it's the OG derby, and yes, we always put on a show, but we need to fix our issues, so I think we'll all be online. You'll see a lot of TFMC online this week, probably in close squads, fixing things up, fellas, so that's where we'll go, but we're excited for it. And it's the Pav Cup, like, fucking put a smile on your face, Frankie boy. We're here to celebrate, so...
Anything can happen, Frank.
That's it, mate.
Anything
Exactly,
can happen.
brother. Exactly. We had a few blokes running in squad lead for the first time tonight, all that stuff, so I'll get back on me horse and we'll look forward to the 11th. I reckon it'll be an absolute cracker. And we're fucking saying farewell to Pharaoh, so, it's his third last match tomorrow, and you know, kind of. So
Yeah,
we'll look
last
forward to we'll look forward to facing you boys next week, and it'll be good fun.
Nah, awesome. And Lobby, obviously you're taking on the Mighty Roughs, who are in incredible form at the moment. Anything that you boys need to work on, or really happy with today's performance?
Yeah, it took us fucking forever to get nodes up, so we need to work on getting our nodes up, and our initial push for the midpoint, because that was dismal compared to other times, especially when we versed Taco. So we got to definitely work on those two things this coming week.
Yeah, definitely. Well, boys, we'll take a quick look at the league table. So as we can see there, the 6 move into first place with the bonus point. So obviously we've got the 11th versus Roughs tomorrow night to determine who will win that one. So make sure you tune in, boys. Hacksaw will be streaming that one. I believe we've got Frankie. Who else is commentating with you tomorrow night? Frankie, Lobby, and a couple of other boys. I'm not sure who yet, but it's going to be a spicy match. So make sure you listen in for that one, boys. From all of us here, congratulations to the 6. Unlucky to TFMC. It was an absolute belter of a match to watch. Had an absolute blast, boys, and thanks to WhalesVagyna, and Hillsy for joining me as always. We'll see you in the next one.
Fuck yeah.